friends. Their names are Liv and Hannah. And they played a game called the Dead Game. That's right. The Dead Game. Now, the Dead Game is a two-man operation, so let's say Lindsay and I are playing the Dead Game. This is Lindsay, folks. She would pretend to be dead. So go on. I would notice. I'd say, Lindsay, are you okay, Lindsay? And everybody would sort of notice, and their interest would be piqued. And then I would shake Lindsay violently. Yes, just like that. And then Lindsay would allow a limp arm to flop over. So go, yeah, nice. That's beautiful. And then we'd all shout, Lindsay's dead, you guys! Ah! And laugh and scream and giggle like crazy people. And that was the game. So Liv and Hannah and I, and some others, went on tour together with a production of Jane Eyre. And we went around for 3.5 months on a Rockstar tour bus. Honest to God, Rockstar tour bus. This bus usually took around Black Sabbath. And people would see our bus drive up, and they'd get out of their cars, and they'd whip out their cameras, and they'd go to see like what celebrity was coming out of this Rockstar tour bus, and out would descend the cast of Jane Eyre. Now, when you were on a Rockstar tour bus for 3.5 months, things that originally seemed odd, and maybe not so funny, get to be kind of amusing. So the Dead Game occurred with, some regularity. So that at one point when we were on vacation, and I had spent the day drinking, and that evening I was dehydrated, and I was talking to a castmate, Chris, and as he was talking to me, I was like, oh, Chris, I'm getting dizzy, and I made for this chair that was about 5 feet away, only I didn't ever get there, and I fainted. And Chris, of course, thought that I was just adding some flair to the classic Dead Game. So he called everybody in the house over, and they had a rousing rendition of Debbie. Debbie, are you okay? And they shook me, and a lifeless arm of mine did, and flop over. And they all said, Debbie's dead, you guys! Ah! And giggled like crazy people, ran away, and abandoned me on the porch floor. When I came to, with vague recollections of laughter and mockery in my head, Chris came over to make sure that I was okay, that I hadn't hurt myself during my dramatics. And I had to inform him that no, I had really fainted. I had lost consciousness. And they all felt bad. To their credit, they felt bad, but you know what? Not bad enough. And you want to know why? Because I don't bruise easily. Alright, so when I broke my fall with my face, I didn't have anything to show for it. It's not like I wanted some gaping, oozing, domestic violence wound on my face, because that would be terrible. But it hurt a lot. I just wanted something that accurately represented my pain. I feel like this is a constant problem for me. I do a lot of babysitting. And I babysit these little monsters who are 3 and 5. And when they're not hurting each other, they're hurting other people. So when we go to the playground, I'm like damage control. And at one point, we went to the playground, and they had run in opposite directions, and I had to triangulate my position to try to make sure nobody died today. And my younger monster climbed up this ladder onto a platform where he was shouting, "You can't come up here!" to some small child, and was pushing him off of a ladder that was this high. So I was like, oh no! And I go over yelling at my monster, looking straight up at the platform, fucking speed walking, not quite running, but almost running. And looking up, not down, and of course, there was a wooden beam about yay high. And I went full speed in the other shit, and face planted on the fucking playground. Went down. I tried very hard not to cry because I didn't want to scare the children. And then later that day, the older monster asked for ice cream, and I was like, no, and then he kicked me in the shin. And I checked all day the next day, all fucking week, for any semblance of a bruise. And there was nothing. There was nothing to show for it. My sister bumps into a chair and has a bruise the size of Texas on her thigh. I fucking plow into a wooden beam, and I have absolutely nothing to show for it. I showed my mom a couple days later, and she was like, oh no, in the right light you can see it, it's really big. I got irrationally angry at her her after that. It's totally unfair. Anyway, point being, don't fuck with death.